let's stop right there. Because she has hit on something. She has. I wasn't gonna go there, but let's go there, right? Because the Ciara phenomenon is that causes more discussion amongst, or it did amongst, men and women than anything. Let me stop right here, and sister, you deal with the enlightened part and give us your your thoughts on that.
Um, Advanced spiritual knowledge comes to me is a little, well, no, I guess intuition is a little bit different than having the actual knowledge itself. So enlightened means you're a studious woman. You're somebody that's going out there and seeking out the essentially the curriculum that you want to pass down to your children, your family, your posterity. Yeah, enlightened is important. You're right. So the brother said in the comments, Lauren Hill married one of Bob Marley's sons and she had children. Yes, she did. And her, I don't know if it's her oldest child. I'm not sure which child it is that she has, but the hit song that came out last year before last, Praise Jar in the Moonlight, that's actually her son that made that song. It's a beautiful song. So I'm not saying anything bad on Lauren Hill. I'm just saying that me coming up listening to the music, I wasn't putting Lauren Hill, I wasn't equating Lauren Hill to wife or looking at her as the definition of wife. I would say that she's very virtuous, yes, because she made music that we listened to that said, okay, you need to watch the way that you move in this world. Um, I, I was gonna say, as far as her being feminine, that's such a we gotta. I think that's the next slide, right? Going into the conversation of femininity.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um. No. Okay. Let me get back to the Ciara thing. If you're finished,
I'm finished.
are you finished? Okay. The Ciara thing, the Ciara discussion, and I'm glad that sister brought it up because I would have never thought to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I say that has caused so much discussion on the internet is because the Ciara thing is, in essence, uh, what sisters see it as, or what, no, this is what brothers see it as, being unduly rewarded for hustling backwards, right? And a lot of sisters see it as second chance redemption. Would you agree with that, sister?
I guess so.
I mean, if you don't agree, you let me know.
I didn't say I disagree. I guess yeah,
Right.
you're right.
And and so this is what I mean. Ciara was with Future. If we go back to what I was talking about before, Future is the literal definition of the vermin in our community. An N-worder who puts out degenerate music that destroys the mind of our people. Yeah, do I sound like I don't like Future? I do not like Future. Do I know Future? Absolutely not. I know people like Future. I don't like those people. Those people are in the way of revolution and liberation. Anyone who's in the way of revolution and liberation, I do not like. Do I think most of those people are redeemable? Absolutely not. I think time is short, and so we don't have time to really be sitting around trying to redeem everybody. Just get out the way. That's all I'm asking. Move or be moved. That's what all I'm saying in regards to those people. So when I see a sister reproduce with this person, because again, you're carrying on his genetics, and then uh, Russell Wilson, quote unquote, the good guy, who Russell Wilson not even fully black, by the way, but we just always disregard that part. He's only half black. He's half black and half Indian. That's why his hair look like that. But I digress. Quote unquote, the good guy comes and rescues Ciara, who goes and reproduces with someone that she knows is not a good father, knows it's not husband material, knows is has poor character. And and then Russell Wilson comes along and worships the ground she walks on, the men take personal offense at it. Why? Because they see it as rewarding bad behavior. That's what they see it as. You can argue with the men in the comments. Do I see it that way? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I kind of do. Because Future is publicly known. This ain't like you randomly met some dude. You knew this dude was a piece of crap. That's it. Let's call it what it is. But you got pregnant by him anyway. And let me say this. It's one thing to lay up with these people, but to pass on the genetics of Negroes is really despicable behavior. That's all I'm gonna say. Of you passing on the genes of known Negroes. Again, I have said before, and I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna probably, if I could pay for it, I put it on my tombstone. Character is passed down genetically. What? Character is passed down genetically. I'm about to do the Dr. Umar. I'm gonna say it for a third time. Character is passed on genetically. Now, somebody's gonna say, DC, how can you say that? How you know character is passed on genetically? And you know what I'm gonna say? Yurugu and the small hat. Now, what you got to say? Anybody, you want to debate that? Huh? Or you gonna tell me it's some good Yurugu, right? The slave monster that is the small hat is still out here doing the same thing he's been doing for 500 years. But you're going to tell me his character ain't passed on genetically. No, it is passed on genetically. Yurugu is still out here saying how much he hate black people, even though we ain't doing nothing to him. Why? Because his character is passed on genetically. So when I say, hey, this is despicable for you to reproduce with this clown, y'all want to argue with me, but then I tell you character is passed on genetically, ain't nobody got nothing to say. You know why? Because I'm right. Sister, you got anything to add to that?
I can make the argument that Yurugu is capable of staying as at a source of evil because they have the funding to do so and they have the power to do so. If you're able to create an environment where you tell a child that it's right to pick on the lame child in the classroom, and you have the power to back it up, you have the money to back it up, then it doesn't necessarily matter the genes of the child. I'm just making the argument just for the sake of, like, if we were to, or so if we transfer it now, because we could easily say Yurugu always going to be Yurugu from the beginning of time to the end of time. So it's easy to say they're going to always be that genetically. And Yurugu equating to the DJ EWSs. But if we transfer it to our community, it's a little harsh to say that a man that is of bad character is going to remain, his bloodline is going to always remain of bad character, regardless of anything. No matter how much you, I don't know. It's just a little harsh. It's a little harsh. I hear where you're coming from, but it's almost like you're saying, it's almost like you're saying we don't have the power to go through and reform our people at all whatsoever. So you basically saying a coon gonna always be a coon, and no amount of courageous leadership, no amount of courage training, no amount of circumstance or anything, they just always gonna be a coon forever. Because genetically, his grandfather was a coon.
All right, sister, I'm gonna make you laugh when I'm gonna say this. Some of them are gonna have to go to sleep. You finish that.
For good.
And that's all I'm saying.
Because character,
I'm saying you don't reproduce with the ones that's gonna have to go to sleep for good. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, sister.
You're not wrong about that. And then too, going back to the Ciara thing, to say that men are upset with men are upset with Russell Wilson choosing Ciara because it's rewarding bad behavior is like super hot take. Super hot take. True, that's a fact. What Mariah said is she was not a wife to Future. So she would be in the statistics earlier of women that had children but had not been married. So she had never even performed the role of wife before. That was something that Russell Wilson initiated her into. But
But
yes,
I would make the argument that she's not being a wife to Russell Wilson when she run around half naked. Now, anybody want to talk about that part? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. This is where we go to the street proverb. What does the street proverb say? You and I'm going to say, unless you are the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, cannot, in essence, as they would say in the Nation of Islam, reform devil. You cannot take what's for the streets and convert it into a wife. Argue with the street proverb. That's a street proverb.
she's
Go
an
ahead, sister. I know
entertainer.
you like. She's like, oh my God, come on, brother. Now go ahead. I'm gonna turn my mic off. Go ahead.
She's an entertainer. She's not a gospel entertainer. She was already out talking about her goodies, well before WAP. And so at this point, her becoming modest and not continuing on with the career that she's created for herself, it's not the same. It's not exactly the same thing as the proverb. The proverb is saying you can't go on the street and find a woman that's out for any man that's coming around. She just do whatever for anybody. She give it up for anybody. And you go out on the street and find her, bring her home, and then be able to keep her home because you just love her so much. And it's not the same thing as somebody that is dressing a certain way in order to, dang, almost sound like stripping. All right, dressing a certain way and dancing in a certain way, performing in a certain way in order to sell the art that she creates. It's a little bit different. I certainly see the Venn diagram and we overlapping a lot. But I do think that
See, I was gonna say something, but then you made me laugh because you said that. Let me turn my mic back off. Go ahead, sis.
I think that it's really harsh to say that it's rewarding bad behavior, because that's saying, basically what you're saying is, once a woman has a child with a man, she can never, and you know the relationship didn't work for XYZ, she can never have love. She can never be accepted by another man, because then that would be rewarding her bad behavior. I personally don't feel good about that, and I know for a fact that's going to be a super hot take amongst all women. Like, that's really harsh. That's harsh.
No, I didn't say that her having a having a random child again. She ain't have Fred Hampton's child. She ain't have Huey P. Newton's child. She didn't even have a dude that she didn't know's child. She had a child by a dude that she knew was a piece of crap. That's my point.
Russell Wilson
It's
ain't
not.
Malcolm X. I wouldn't say that she went. She went
I
from
didn't
one
say that.
industry to the next.
But this is what I'm saying. Russell Wilson claims to be a good Christian man, right? Now, I'm not a Christian, but I'm saying for the majority of people out here, they would look at a dude and that's supposed to be a church dude and supposed to be the good guy and stuff like that. They would say, why is he choosing this woman who has previously presented an image of harlotry and has a child by a known degenerate? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is for every woman, but I'm saying it does set a bad example in the fact that women think, okay, I can not only present an image of harlotry, but I can also get pregnant by a dude that I know is a POS. And then now what they call it, it's a whole thing in the black female community. It's called Ciara's prayer, where I, I would please great God in the sky, ancestors, Jesus, Yahshua, Jehovah, send me a Russell Wilson after I finish uh starting it up and busting it open for a real one, as they say on the internet. Please let my Russell Wilson come and rescue me and take me off to a mansion somewhere after he get rid of his European female. Because we forget about that part. Was with a whole European female. Don't know. Everybody forgets that part of the equation. So yeah, that's Ciara's prayer. So all I'm saying is when the fact that Ciara's prayer exists, it kind of is like, you know what? He is kind of setting a bad example, because women have taken this one example and like, this is my dream. It's not their dream to be married. It's not their dream to, or it's definitely not their dream to be a wife. It's their dream to start it up and then be rescued. In essence, that's the dream. So that's what I have seen on the internet.
Rescue via marriage. Rescue via marriage. Don't take away the marriage part.
Yes, well, okay, be rescued via marriage. Okay. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead. Tell me what you think about what I said.
Well, I just have to refer to Sister Shahrazad Ali saying that most black women are mentally still at the age of 14 and sometimes younger. And that's because of the trauma that we've endured. That's because of the environment that we have to live through every day. And so, if you as a child mentally were doing childish things and then you matured in your trials and were like, man, I really don't like being treated like this. Man, I really don't like the fact that my child's father is really still on drugs. Like, I needed you really needed to be in the midst of the chaos to look around and be like, okay, this is not what I want. Because outside looking in, she's going to see Future as, like, on paper, he's going to be a good mate. They're going to make music together because they both musicians. They both from Atlanta, I think. So culturally, they, on the same vibe and everything. So on paper, it seemed like a good move. But then she got into it and it was like, actually, I want something different. And from there, as sister said, being a mentally 14-year-old, maturing, and then getting to a point of, I no longer want this for myself and for my child. I want something different. And so I'm going to pray about it. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I super don't see anything wrong with Black women looking at it and being like, dang, I feel the same way. Let me go to prayer. I don't see anything wrong with prayer. And it's not about religion or, anything like that. It's just about going within yourself and having those deep conversations. Now, I see where you're coming from as far as Black women using it almost like as a scapegoat to just being rescued and saying like, okay, I'm not going to change me. I'm just going to hope and pray for a man to come and rescue me out of it. And then whenever he tell me to change, then I'll change. Like when he gives me the ring, then I'll stop thoughting. That's a problem. I understand what you mean when it comes to that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a Black woman looking at herself and being like, dang, I'm making the wrong decision. Let me fix it. And if I have to go via prayer or writing it down in my journal or whatever it is, and hoping for the best, doing the internal work, you can't be wrong with that. And you can't say that the initial issue wasn't punishment enough. It could it couldn't have possibly been anything but punishment having a child by Future. A lot of Black women go through punishment being single mothers and just being with the mates that you said are POSs is already a punishment. So to be like, you know, she needs to continue to be punished, that's a super hot take. I can't feel good about it.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_one. And the Cash App is $DcRadical1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A beat before ODA and straight Black pride.